So, it is Saturday evening, which is not a time that I usually start a vlog, but I'm here with my sister, Natalie, who is staying over for this bank holiday weekend so that we can start, and probably not finish, Illumine by Jay Kristoff and Amy Hoffman. And this is a sci-fi book, and I don't really know what it's about, but I will tell you as we go on. I'm very slightly apprehensive about this read because I just finished reading Nevernight, which is also by Jay Kristoff, and I didn't love the narrative style, and I'll talk about that a bit more in another video because I think I'm going to do a review of that book. But because I wasn't hugely keen on the narrative style, I'm not sure how I'm going to get on with this, but it is a book that's been on my TBR for a while, so I'm super excited to pick it up. What do you think?
Well, I've never really read a sci-fi before. I don't think I've ever read one, and seeing as I'm only just getting into reading properly, I've only read a few books in the last month or two. So I am nervous about this one, if I'm honest, as well. And that's mainly because of the writing style inside the book. Obviously, it's not just your regular chapter book. It's full of log entries and things like that. So that's kind of intimidating. And it's 600 pages, and that may not seem like a lot to you booktube lot, but to me that's a lot of pages. So it's a little scary.
So we have mixed feelings, but we're going to start.
Excited.
We are excited. I'm excited.
I'm excited.
And we'll see how we go.
Yep.
And we'll keep you posted. Hello. So, as usual, I have been a terrible vlogger. And it is now Sunday evening. It is in fact 5:30 on Sunday evening, and I have not updated you since about 11 PM last night, so sorry about that. We went to the big Waterstones in central London today in Piccadilly. I would have filmed a bit in there, but I feel really self-conscious about filming in public, so I didn't. And we may have bought some books, which we'll show you in a minute. And then we went back to Westfield for some lunch. And now we're home, and we're gonna do some more reading. But in terms of the reading we've already done, I'm on page 126, and you are on page
68.
So we're doing pretty good. What do you think of it so far?
I really enjoy it. I think it's very good. I was sceptical because I was worried because I'm someone who needs all the information like right now, and that is still true. Like, I still struggle with that in terms of reading, like just having to wait to find out. I suppose that's part of my struggle with it. But in terms of the way that this book is written, it is really clever in the way that it actually provides us with information. So I won't spoil it, but it's very clever to actually still provide us with the information, but keeping true to the way that they've decided to write this book. And it's very good. I like it.
I agree. The writing style is very, very different to Nevernight, which is good because, like I mentioned, I wasn't a huge fan of the writing style of Nevernight, and this is nothing like that at all. It's also a really, really quick read, which is what we expected because it's full of like log entries and interviews and instant messages and textbook extracts and things like that. So it's a pretty quick read, which is why I've already read 126 pages, even though I've only been reading it for maybe 2 hours, like 2.5 hours, something like that, which is quite quick for me because I am a slow reader. So
but I'm slower.
So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I feel like, I don't know about you, but I don't feel like we've properly got into the story yet. I think it's just still in setup stages.
Yeah, definitely.
Would you agree?
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at for now. Shall we do a little mini book haul?
Oh yes.
We're going to do a mini book haul.
So originally, yesterday, I said to Sophia, I'm not buying any books. But there was a but. I wanted to pick up like a graphic novel or a manga or something like that. And then when I was looking at her bookshelf, I picked up loads of things that kind of looked interesting. So I ended up deciding that I did pick up Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. And then I still stuck to the fact that I wanted to pick up a graphic novel or a manga of some sort. So I did do that, and I picked up Battle Royale. And the reason for that is I really enjoyed the movie, and I thought it might be quite a good way to get into this sort of reading style by reading something that I've already seen something of. So I picked up these two, but I actually did buy 2 more. Oops. And so the 2 that I bought is The Earl and the Fairy, and it's quite a short little book, also a manga. And there are 4 books in this series, and if they're all that small, that should be another good way into this sort of writing style for me. And it seems very fantastical, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I want to get into reading more fantasy as well. And then I also picked up this, I'm told it's middle grade book. It's called Malamander by Thomas Taylor. And one reason I wanted to get it is because of these lovely sprayed edges with a lovely pattern on it. And it's also signed by the author. And it just seems like a really cool concept. So that is what I've got. So instead of trying to find a clever way of describing what the books are about, I'm just going to read out the blurbs. So for Malamander by Thomas Taylor, the blurb is, "Who will uncover the secret of the Malamander? In the basement of the Grand Nautilus Hotel, a mysterious girl crashes into Herbie Lemon's room and cries, 'Hide me.' In the window of the eerie book dispensary, a mechanical mermonkey sits and waits. And out beyond the pier, something stirs. Could the legendary Malamander have returned?" So it sounds like a very interesting read to me. Very cute, and let's face it, the cover's really nice. And the fact that the sprayed edges are it's very unique, I think. So that's that one. So for The Earl and the Fairy, the blurb is, "Lydia Carlton is a fairy doctor, one of the few people with the ability to see the magical creatures who share our world. During one of her rare trips to London to visit her father, Lydia's quiet life is suddenly transformed when she is rescued from kidnappers by a mysterious young man. Edgar Ashenbert claims to be descended from the human ruler of the fairy kingdom, and he urgently needs Lydia's help to find and claim his birthright, the legendary sword of the Blue Night Earl. Things will never be the same for Lydia as she is pulled into a dangerous quest against dark forces." So I think that's a good start for me if I'm wanting to get into more fantasy stuff. Plus, it's a little bit simpler in terms of reading. And then if you don't know what Battle Royale is, I would say it's probably one of the main inspirations for Suzanne Collins' Hunger Games trilogy. So it's this concept about children selected to be a part of this, well, it's very similar to Hunger Games, they just have to kill each other until there's only one left, except I think in this particular book, it's 48 people instead of 24. Is it 24?
Can't remember.
Oh, well. So, this blurb reads, "The program is a brutal military experiment that pits junior high school students against each other every year in a brutal battle to the death. Most of the students from," it's a very difficult word, I'm struggling to say it, so it's Shiroiwa? Something like that, we'll go with that. Junior high scatter as soon as they reach the remote island where they must participate in the latest round of the program. But Yuki Utsumi and 5 of her friends lock themselves in the lighthouse, clinging to a desperate hope of survival. They all trust each other, but they also know that only one can survive the battle royale." I already know what to expect with this, but again, as I said before, it's just a way to get me into reading in this sort of style, as I want to give it a go. And as for the last book, I feel like a lot of BookTube probably already know about this book, but I will read you the blurb anyway. So it says, "Dante can swim, Ari can't. Dante is articulate and self-assured. Ari has had a hard time with words and suffers from self-doubt. Dante gets lost in poetry and art. Ari gets lost in thoughts of his older brother who is in prison. Dante is fair-skinned, Ari's features are much darker. It seems that a boy like Dante, with his open and unique perspective on life, would be the last person to break down the walls that Ari has built around himself. But against all odds, when Ari and Dante meet, they develop a special bond that will teach them the most important truths of their lives and help define the people they want to be. But there are big hurdles in their way, and only by believing in each other and the power of their friendship can Ari and Dante emerge stronger on the other side. Also sounds good. And I haven't read many contemporaries, if any, in a number of years, so again, this should be a good way into this style of book. That's me done.
Okay, so I also bought 4 books. First one is The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. This is a middle grade book about a witch who takes children and finds adoptive parents for them, I think, and she feeds them starlight, but one day she accidentally feeds moonlight to one of the children that she's rescued, and that makes that child magical, and so she decides to keep the child and raise her as her own. This just sounds like a really cute, whimsical read, and it's been on my TBR for a while, so I'm really glad to have finally picked it up, and I can't wait to read it. Very different kind of book now, Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant, which is actually a horror book, which isn't something that I read a lot of. I heard about this book on the channel Murphy Napier, and she said when I asked that it wasn't really scary, so that makes it sound like it's more doable for me. This is a siren story, but more of the original siren myth, so not mermaids but actual killer sirens, and we follow a crew who are doing a deep sea dive in Mariana's Trench to search for another crew that went, well, a ship that went missing some time ago, and I imagine that they stumble across some sirens and that there are some issues as a result of that. So I'm really interested to give this one a go, and I think that this is actually going to be the next sister book club book. So obviously we're reading Illuminae as our sister book club book at the moment, and this is probably going to be our next one. Then another book that's been on my TBR for quite some time is The Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. This is a Japanese inspired fantasy, which really was all I needed to know because I love everything Japanese. Japanese culture, Japanese food, Japanese language, and why not Japanese inspired fantasy. So my understanding is that we follow 2 main characters in this story. One is a kitsune, which is like a werewolf but a werefox, and the other is a traveller who is searching for a mythical item, but he doesn't realise that this girl that he's partnered up with to search for this item is actually the keeper of said item. So it's a travelling story, and I don't know much more about it than that, but I am super excited to pick this one up. And then finally, I picked up the bind-up of volumes 3 and 4 of Maid Sama by Hiru Fujiwara. This is a manga that I read volumes 1 and 2 of a couple of months ago, and it essentially follows a high school student who is president of a predominantly boys' school, and she is trying to make it a little bit more of a pleasant place for the female students who are now attending, but in her spare time she works as a maid at a maid cafe in Japan, and she doesn't want anybody at school to find out about that because it might impact on her prissy good girl image. And one of the boys from school, who is also top of the class, discovers her secret, and she's really worried that he's going to spread it about the school, but it turns out that he has a bit of a thing for her, and I'm really hoping that they're going to get together in this bind-up, because they're going to get together, quite obviously, and I can't wait for that to happen. So, yeah, those are all the books I got. Okay, so Natalie's leaving now. So this is a final check-in. What page are you on?
I'm very slow, and also I have a problem with just staying focused. I get distracted too easily by my phone. But I am about to start page 151.
And I'm on page 222.
Great.
What do you think?
I really enjoy it. I'm really enjoying it. I
This
think
lighting really is awful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Come this way. That's better.
What, should we start again?
No, it's fine.
We moved. Lighting was bad. Yeah. So, as I was saying, I'm really enjoying this book. I think it's different, it's fun, and also I really like the characters, and there's a lot of humour put into it in places, and I think that makes it really interesting. I know you made a point of, oh, I wish it would just pick up a little bit more, but you made the point of perhaps you just hadn't gotten far enough into it, but also I said that I think the format in which it's written keeps it really interesting, regardless.
Yeah, I do think that the format is interesting, and it does make it a lot quicker of a read.
Definitely.
And I do think that the inclusion of humour is necessary, because otherwise the topics are quite dark. Like, what's going on in the story is quite dark. But yeah, I still think that the pacing could be a bit quicker.
Oh, okay.
But then I think it's because it's building suspense. So I think probably this is the type of book that I would enjoy reading in a short space of time, so I am going to try and finish most of it today now, because I think the quicker you read it, or for me, the quicker I read it, the more I'll get out of it, I think. Yeah,
I mean, for me, it's just going to be a case of I'll finish it when I finish it, because I don't want to force myself, because otherwise I won't enjoy reading it. And I want to enjoy reading it because I really am enjoying it. I do get distracted. That's just something I need to work on personally.
There are apps you can get on your phone to stop you from accessing anything while you're trying to read.
I can't do that. I mean, I probably should though.
Like social media.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest one. Like, I unnecessarily just scroll through Instagram looking at nothing, and then I get a little bit upset when it says you're all caught up for the last 3 days.
Yeah.
Oops.
Anyway.
But it's good.
It's been fun.
It has been fun. I was going to say something else and I've completely forgotten.
That's cool.
That's okay. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
I might check in again later.
See you next time.
Bye. Hello. So I did indeed do a check-in at the end of yesterday for you on my reading progress with Illuminae, but it was just before I went to bed and I was completely incoherent and the camera was completely out of focus. So I'm filming it again. I did manage to finish this book last night, yesterday evening, and I was right, I did definitely benefit more from reading it in a shorter space of time. I think if I read this over a longer period of time, that it would not be as enjoyable. So I'm really glad that I was able to finish it last night, mostly because, like we said many times, the formatting of the book makes it really quick and easily digestible. So I also, because I'm currently editing this vlog, I realised that we never actually told you what this book is about. It is sci-fi and it follows a couple of main characters following a terrorist attack on their planet. They are rescued and they are on 2 different ships. One is called the Hypatia or Hypatia and the other is called the Alexander, and the story is told as a report of the incidents that happened on those ships and on that planet when it was attacked, and also it follows the spreading of a virus or a contagion of some kind on one of the ships. So it's sort of like a strange mix of sci-fi, mystery, and like end of the world apocalyptic type of book, which might be a standard thing in sci-fi. I'm not really sure because I don't read a lot of it, but I did enjoy the book. I did really like the characters. I found the plot very interesting, and the writing style, the storytelling style was very interesting. I couldn't tell you whether it was, I mean, I suppose it was third person, but it's kind of told like, well, it is told like a report of a set of events being given to somebody. And I did enjoy it, and I do definitely want to pick up the next 2 books in the series. I suspect, because they're told in the same format, that I will want to read those in a short period of time as well. So I will have to pick a time when I'm able to read them all in one go. But as you saw in this vlog, I've already bought some more books recently, so I'm probably not going to be picking those up anytime soon. I don't think that my local library has them, and they're definitely not the kinds of books that I'd want to read either digitally or by audiobook. I think that I would probably get a little bit too confused if I were to read them in either of those formats, so I definitely want to pick up the physical copies. But I will do that eventually. And that's it really. I had a really lovely weekend with my sister visiting. She really enjoyed the book too. She hasn't finished it yet, but maybe I will let you know her final thoughts when I do my wrap up at the end of the month, because she will have finished it by then. I reckon she'll finish it this week. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more like this from me, then do think about hitting that subscribe button, and I hope to see you here again soon. Thanks. Bye.